The West Alabama Women's Center in Tuscaloosa says they're seeing around 20 patients a week, providing care like contraception, annual exams, and STD testing.
We're finally able to see a lot of people, but we're doing it primarily to uninsured, underinsured, and Medicaid patients, which means that as income, we're not really bringing anything into the clinic.
Clinic director Robin Marty says they've been fundraising for months, even bringing in $200,000 last year after Roe v. Wade overturned. She says it's how they stayed open so far, but that money is almost gone.
At this point, we have until probably June or July in order to keep operating.
Hey folks, Dale Jackson here for Yellowhammer Now, and today we've got to talk about the latest version of a media story over how abortion going away because of Roe v. Wade has destroyed women's health care in Alabama. And you'll learn that women's health care in Alabama, what they mean by that is abortion. They can't get abortions anymore. And not only is that affecting the women that want to get abortions, it's also affecting the people that used to give abortions. So look no further than this story out of Politico, where the headline screams, "This Alabama health clinic is under threat. It doesn't provide abortions." Former abortion clinics in red states are trying to pivot to other services after Dobbs, but they're finding it's not so easy. Correct. It's not so easy. It was an abortion clinic. And I know we like to hear from all these people that will tell us, Dale, these abortion clinics, they do so much other stuff. So pretending that all they do is abortion is just crazy. Well, you're about to learn that, yeah, all they did was abortions. The story starts, patients arriving for an appointment at the West Alabama Women's Center 1 year ago would have had to brave a gauntlet of chanting protesters, skirt an idling police car, take seats in a crowded waiting room, and wait for one of the clinic's dozen busy staff members to help them terminate a pregnancy. He jumped down and says, but when Abigail arrived on Tuesday morning in April, nearly 11 months after the fall of Roe v. Wade, the parking lot was so quiet you could hear the clinic's wind chime tinkling faintly in the hot breeze. Now, kudos to this author here who wants to work for NPR and use all these sound effects and stuff like this. But forget about the pretty prose. Let's look about the ugly facts. The ugly facts are this clinic, all they did was abortions. That's all they did. And when abortions stopped, people stopped coming to the clinic. Now, the framing of this story is this is creating what is known as, according to Jeremy Gray, the managing producer for Breaking News at AL.com, he says, facing challenges, the clinic and others like it in other red states across the country are barely hanging on. If they disappear, women who already live in dangerous maternal care deserts could lose a lifeline. Ooh, scary. Now, here's the problem with this entire argument. Nobody's going to them. The clinic is still there. No one's going to them. It's not that they don't provide other services. Nobody goes there for these services. They're getting those services elsewhere. Are you suggesting that people aren't getting IUDs or birth control in the city of Tuscaloosa? That's just a laughable lie. It's a college community. The resources are aplenty. Go find the people who are saying they can't find IUDs or birth controls and tell that story, but you can't tell that story because it's idiotic. All you can do is say, oh, these people do more than just abortions. But they don't, which is why this one is going out of business. Back to the original story. The clinic is struggling financially too. Known for decades primarily as an abortion provider, the West Alabama Women's Center has struggled to get the word out that they are now providing other care and work to build a new patient population from scratch, mainly through word of mouth. Facing these challenges, the clinic and others in red states across the country are barely holding on. If they disappear, women who already live in dangerous maternal care deserts could lose a lifeline. The premise makes no sense. No one's going to the clinic. If it closes, there's no one going to miss out. If people were going to the clinic, they would be fine. I'm sorry, boo-hooing about an abortion mill's inability to stay in business does nothing to me when it makes me think about Roe v. Wade. It says to me that all they were doing was providing abortions. These kids are not going without. There are other opportunities to take advantage of women's health matters, which apparently means abortion and birth control. And that's about it in the minds of the mainstream American media and the liberal press. That's all that matters. Abortion, 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 abortion. So they try to make this a story of abortion when it's really a story of a failing business. It's the story of a failing business. And that's really all it's about. Now, if they could provide more abortions, they could make more money. But they can't really sell the story that way, can they? That's right. The doctors who are making money providing abortions now can't provide abortions, so they can't make money. That's not a story that's going to sell. Instead, the story is about how women will have nowhere to go for healthcare services, and that's a lie. It's a lie that's told over and over and over about Planned Parenthood and other abortion providers, yet they're trying to sell it right here. And you have the breaking news editor for the state's leading media outlet. As much as I'd like to pretend that AL.com is not the state's leading media outlet, it absolutely is. Here you have them telling a story that is blatantly untrue. Maternal health desert is not a thing. Okay? There are options for these people. They have to take responsibility to seek those options out. This clinic doesn't get business because it's known as an abortion provider, and that's it. So nobody's going there. So yes, Roe v. Wade, the law being struck down or the ruling being struck down, hurt businesses that were operating under that ruling, that you could not put any limits on abortion or very few limits on abortions, no matter what the people in the state wanted. They're now hurting. They're hurting. That's a fact. It's an unfortunate fact for them, but them's the breaks. Okay? This is how the world works. When people don't want this stuff in their community, in their state, they elect people who go to implement their will in the legislature. Whether that will is to end abortion or to allow abortions everywhere. There are states that are doing this, and that's what Roe v. Wade actually did. So you got to tell these scary stories about abortion deserts. Yes, Alabama is an abortion desert. You can't do abortions inside the state of Alabama. Sorry. That story is the real story here. It's the story they won't tell because it's a ghoulish, monstrous story to point out that this abortion mill can no longer operate because they can't provide abortions, and nobody went to them for anything else. But that's the truth.
New at 9, nearly 6 months after the reversal of Roe v. Wade, one local women's clinic is struggling to keep their doors open. The West Alabama Women's Center in Tuscaloosa is still busy providing health care. But as Lauren Jackson found out, they're now at risk of closing. Lauren?
Yeah, Steve, Morgan, they're at risk of closing because they've gone from nearly 200 patients to almost 80. And some of these women that they're serving with this health care can't pay.
There isn't another place for them to go.
With limited health care options for low income and uninsured, the West Alabama Women's Center in Tuscaloosa says they're seeing around 20 patients a week, providing care like contraception, annual exams, and STD testing.
We're finally able to see a lot of people, but we're doing it primarily to uninsured, underinsured, and Medicaid patients, which means that as income, we're not really bringing anything into the clinic.
Clinic director Robin Marty says they've been fundraising for months, even bringing in $200,000 last year after Roe v. Wade overturned. She says it's how they stayed open so far, but that money is almost gone.
At this point, we have until probably June or July in order to keep operating. And if those funds don't come to us, then unfortunately, we're going to be yet another clinic that has closed. And we are looking at ways that we can find both state and federal funding, because we know that there is a lot of pregnancy that is going to be happening in this state.
And Marty says if they were to close, hundreds of women would lose access to this care.
If they are on Medicaid or if they are uninsured, you can go to the county health department. It will take them up to 3-4 months to be able to get an appointment.
Now, Marty says the clinic is planning a fundraiser upcoming for May or April. She says they're going to try and stay open past July as long as they can. And she says the staff is already working at a reduced rate. Live tonight in Birmingham, I'm Lauren Jackson, WBRC Fox 6 News on your side.